Alright, so what I'll be showing in this video is page 6-3, steps 9 through 11, and 6-4, steps 1 and 2. These are steps on the vertical stabilizer spars. Basically, it should be a pretty short video. These are several small steps that kind of put the finishing touches on the spars and spar doubler. There's a lot of deburring. There's a lot more taking apart in this video than there is putting together, and that's okay because this is, the rear spar has sort of been the central piece that everything else has been attached to and built off of up to this point. But now I've got to sort of take that all back apart and do whatever remaining deburring needs to be done for holes that have been drilled through, and I haven't had it back apart yet. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm actually deburring some of the holes that were drilled through those spar caps, the very first parts I made in step 1, and then I'll go back and do a lot of deburring on the spar itself, the rear spar itself, because again, I've had a lot of parts, drilled a lot of parts through this spar, but haven't had it taken all the way apart to deburr all the holes. So deburring a lot of the flange holes that were not countersunk in an earlier step, and getting those ready to be dimpled later on, and some of the holes for the hinges and the spar doubler drilled through. So, and I use the twisty deburring tool with the extension on it to get up under, on the underside of those spar flanges. And now using a file to clean up the edges of the spar. And little scraper tool. And then taking it over to the 3M wheel on the grinder. And finally a little bit with the Scotch-Brite pad. So now I'm deburring the holes in the rudder hinge brackets. That's the next step. And now working on the rear spar doubler. So now I'm getting ready to dimple those top holes in the rear spar. These again are the holes that they made up with the skin, and they are not backed by the spar caps. And here I'll be final drilling the actual hinge hole in the rudder hinge brackets, the upper and middle, or top and middle hinge brackets. And then here, what I'm doing is clecoing the, this is the front spar doubler that I'm clecoing to the front spar. Going to match drill those holes, move the clecos, match drill the others, and then take that apart and deburr everything. So at this point I'm realizing that I've already deburred the holes in the spar flange. For anyone who's seen the video right before this one, I actually deburred those in the same steps that I was deburring all the rib flange holes, and I made a comment in the video that I think I got ahead of myself when I was deburring those, and it's right around here that I realized that and realized that I had already done that step. So now I'm going along and dimpling all the holes in the spar flanges for the front spar. And for reasons that I'm sure will become much clearer when I'm actually way on down the road mounting the vertical stabilizer to the tail cone, some of the rivets that attach the spar doubler, the front spar doubler to the spar, the lower four rivets are actually countersunk, or, well, they're flush head rivets, which means you have to dimple the holes in the spar and then countersink the holes for the dimple to sit in, countersink the holes in the spar doubler. And so that's what I'm doing right now, is setting up my countersink cage for a 1/8 rivet countersink, and I keep checking it right here against the actual dimple hole that I've made, because again, it's the dimple, not the rivet head itself, that needs to sit in this countersink. And so that's what I'm doing here, getting set up for it, and then I'm going to go ahead and countersink those. Unfortunately, I believe I lost the video for that part, or actually the camera battery died. So we don't get to see that exciting work of countersinking the holes in that spar doubler. So that pretty much wraps up what was really just a day of doing some sort of small steps to complete the vertical stabilizer skeleton, get ready to prime it, and then start riveting things together.